All right, this next guy is cool. You guys are gonna love him. Make some noise for Chris Garvey, everybody. Chris Garvey.
Yeah. Anybody like stand-up comedy? Yeah! Really? Yeah. Really? Yeah, I don't at all, actually. So I'd like to thank you guys for coming out tonight because odds are I probably wouldn't have if it was one of you up here on stage. Don't take it personally, though. I barely answer the phone these days, you know. Depression, right? It has its problems, but it also has its benefits. You know, I mean, you can barely pull yourself out of bed, so makes spending money sort of hard. You know, you save a little dough. And you can't really maintain a boner all that well. You know, your libido's shot, your sex drive's gone, so makes contracting an STD a little more difficult. Safe sex, who can argue with that? 2010, you know, it's pretty crazy. Resolutions and all that. I have a few, got them written down and abiding by them. My first one, never shave my pubic hair again. You know, it's not an easy one to abide by. I'm sure a lot of you guys can attest, you know, because once you see it, you know, all trimmed up, you know, you're like, okay. I can deal with that penis. I'm all right with that. And that's what makes it so hard, right? You know? And that's actually why I broke that resolution just a few short hours ago. It just looked, you know, it looked so small down there, and I had the gig, you know, my balls are smooth. I'm much more confident. I don't know if you guys can tell. Resolutions. I got another one. It's also penis related, and I want to apologize for coming across as a pervert, but, you know, it comes natural. What can I say? But always have a cum rag within reach, right? You know, it doesn't matter if you're alone or with someone else. It's never fun reaching for an old newspaper or dried up orange peel. It cheapens the moment. You know what I mean? It's sort of like back in the day when you get up off the toilet mid-shit to answer the telephone, you know? It may have seemed like a good idea at the time. But then you're cleaning the mess up off the floor and it's, you realize maybe I should have planned ahead. Sorry, Ma. But speaking of cum, I was cutting across Central Park the other night. It was around dusk, you know, and all these little meandering paths. I walked up one, I came across this hill. All these dudes were hanging out, you know. They're sort of lurking and chilling out and checking me out, too, you know. One of these gay cruising spots. I gotta admit, it was a little weird at first. I was a little uncomfortable, you know, but friendly bunch of guys, though. Maybe a little too friendly, but I had some time to kill, you know. Gotta get it where I can, if you know what I'm saying. I think I know what I'm saying. Speaking of gays, actually, I fell in love with this lesbian chick a few weeks ago. First time it ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey-oh, smart, funny, you know what I mean? Yeah, thank you. I started thinking, maybe I convert this chick. You know what I'm saying? How hard could it be, right? I mean, straight guys go into prison and end up sucking cock for 17 and a half years, you know? I got some mojos. I got some seductive ways. But then I started breaking down the numbers, you know, and I figured, you know, prison doesn't really have any chicks, right? Park Slope has a shitload of lesbians, so may not work in my favor. I don't know. I know what you're thinking. I can see you looking at me, and I agree with you. You know, I have to grow up, really. You know, I'm sitting up here talking about pubic hairs and cum rags and all types of shit. And I am evolving. You know, I'm adapting. I'm broadening my fucking viewpoints and all this different things, you know. For example, you know, I used to love going out getting shit-faced, you know, having one-night stands with chicks, you know, waking up midday, taking bong hits in my bathrobe. And now, I'm telling you, nowadays it's, well, I mean, I actually haven't changed any of my viewpoints on those. I still like, you know, the bong hits and the drinking and dirty sex and all that. That's cool. You know, there's other things I've changed my views on. Surprisingly enough, porno. You know what I mean? I mean, sure, I still utilize it, but is that the best use of my time, you know? watching the latest installment in the Ass Blasters series. I don't know about you guys, but those gaping buttholes, they just fucking give me the creeps, you know what I mean? Everything's so violent these days, you know, even porn, you know? I mean, whatever happened to a little thing called love making, you know what I mean? Making love. Well, making love's a little boring, isn't it? I'd rather fuck. So I answered my own question on that one. But regardless, you know, I'm sitting there at the computer. I got the mouse in my one hand, got my joystick on the other, trying to block those big buttholes with, you know, on the computer screen. It's a lot to contend with. It's a lot to contend with. And I'm getting older, you know, like I said. So I'm changing my views on things, you know. Surprisingly enough, I changed my views on bestiality, actually. Seriously. I used to think it was so wrong, you know, to take advantage of an animal like that, you know? Must have read it on PETA.org or one of these, you know. And I started thinking, you know, if I was a goat, I'd bang a human, right? Why not? I'd be quite flattered, actually, you know? You know? Thank you. Yeah. But you know, you're sitting out in the field. It's dark. It's nighttime. There's wolves lurking about, trying to fucking eat you. Some drunk Scotsman grabs you by the horn. You're coming with me. Sure, dude. Later, boys. You know, have fun eating your grass. I'm gonna go eat some ass. Or get my ass eaten, you know. Goat's ass. There's gotta be a new low, right? Sorry about that. Speaking of animals, though, you know, I lost my dog a few years ago. I miss him. It's tough, but I'm starting to think maybe it's time for me to, you know, adopt my own new dog. You know, maybe a pit bull or something. I like pit bulls. I can relate to them on some level. You know, no one really wants them. You know, thing is, pit bulls bite people. They do, right? You know. Well, you know, read the papers. Read the papers. And folks like this will say, "Oh no, they don't. You know, it's an exaggeration. It's a fucking media smear campaign." Sure, sure. And most drive-by shootings are committed by Samoan Americans, right? They're not. It's not true. It may sound good, but it's not true. We got to keep it real, folks. You have. Thanks so much.
Chris Garvey, everybody. Chris Garvey.